You are listening to the Hodges Huddle, where we discuss all things in the wide world of sports. Here's your KLSU sports team.
Welcome into the Hodges Huddle. I am your host, Michael Poggi, alongside my wonderful co-workers, as always, Will Gilreath, Jayden Smith, not to mention the Rook, Alex Sheasley. I've been saying it every time. I got to keep doing it. Helping out with the switcher, producing, doing all things that we like to do here. It's the sixth pod of the Hodges Huddle.
We've got a touchdown.
Yeah, we do have 6 points now. That's something that we like to hold ourselves prideful for. How we doing on this Monday evening, fellas? Almost fall break.
Almost.
Homecoming. How was homecoming?
It was something. It was great, man. Great time to just let loose. I got all my assignments out the way early, so I had the rest of the week to really just enjoy it. We won. That always helps because I really honestly kept forgetting about the game. But yeah, man, it was great, and I'm a senior now, so yeah, they sent me off right. Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, had a good weekend. Got a couple more assignments before fall break, but just
Test went well, that stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
got one more, but, math
sure.
test went well, so I was worried
sure.
about that.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, it was our parents' weekend over, and so my mom came down and got to hang out with her, got to see my grandfather, so that was cool. But we have a lot to discuss on the more sports side of things, as we have a full LSU football pod for y'all today. Of course, we're going to run down what happened on Saturday against South Carolina, as well as a preview of the game against Vanderbilt. So should be exciting. We got a lot to talk about, man. LSU beat South Carolina 20-10 on Saturday night to advance to 5-1. So let's go ahead and just talk about that. What did y'all see on Saturday that showed promise for this offense on the offensive end? Even though they were only able to score 20 points and there were bumps in the road, of course. But I think that there was a little bit of promising aspects. So what did you guys see?
Well, I think they moved the ball the best they have this season, in my opinion, outside of that Southeastern game. They had over 420 total yards of offense. The run game, they had some bigger runs that we haven't seen, some longer runs that we haven't seen. And, Garrett Nussmeier, he actually, in my opinion, played better than he has. And I think you're starting to see some improvement there. There's still some things that he needs to work on and fix, but I really like the link up that we saw between him and Trez Green. I think that was absolutely necessary. That's something they needed to get going all season.
Yeah.
And so I just hope that that's going to continue to broom, whatever the word is, bloom into something special.
Yeah, pretty much everything he said. The offense was finally able to sustain drives. You didn't hear the crowd booing in the stands after another 3-and-out. Like, for one, we didn't have a 3-and-out to start the game, for one. I should have known right then that was a good sign because I swear it seems like every game that's been the case. Garrett looked like he felt a little bit better, like specifically that deep ball to Chris Hilton. We had finally been waiting to see it. It was right on the money. Sucks that he didn't catch it, but that's a different topic for another day. And, the run game. We finally got to see some type of run game and really just alleviate some of that pressure on Garrett having to throw the ball down the field. So I thought the offense also looked a little bit much more creative. I think BK had the headset at one point. He had a play sheet in his hand, so I don't know what that means. But, look, I feel really good about what I saw on Saturday. The only thing is this game could have easily been a 38-10 win. Easily.
And that's what kind of makes you hold your breath a little bit, just because you're right. I mean, this was a game that you could totally have, beat the brakes off these guys, and you had the opportunity. You were able to march the ball down the field, and then a turnover here and there, or just not making the right plays at the right time. But 20 points, the fact that was able to win you the football game tells you a lot about your football team. That if you've been covering LSU, you already know that this defense is going to help you win football games all the way around. I would just say one of the big things that I saw was the way that they didn't really spread the ball out as much as I liked. It was that's the only like one of the main negatives I think.
Like as far as throwing it?
Yeah, as far as throwing the ball, like Trades had 8 receptions. Barryon I think had 2. Here,
Kyle Parker had 5.
Kyle
for
Parker
75
had-
and a
yeah.
touchdown. But see, I kind of like that. Like, not them not spreading the ball around, but like what I took from it was okay. Like we had talked all season about how deep this receiving room is, and now we saw Kyle Parker finally have his breakout game, and we finally saw Trey Dez have that breakout game. Saw him be more than just a red zone threat. So I kind of like that aspect of it. That any given because usually it's Aaron Anderson,
Right.
usually it's Barry and Brown who's
Right.
getting those targets.
Well,
So
and that that's gonna change because obviously teams aren't gonna be playing solo coverage on Trades after they saw what happened.
yeah, I hope not.
But
Well, I
like,
hope so actually. But yeah,
but then you get like you said of Kyle Parker getting those 5 receptions, but then all the way other around it's Bauer Sharp getting 1 reception, Xavion getting 1 reception, Nick Anderson getting 1 reception. Obviously Aaron Anderson didn't play, but you didn't get Chris Hilton into the game. You didn't really get Juwan Johnson in the reception field. He had a couple rushes. He fumbled. But there were, other than the not spreading the ball, I thought that the way they were able to move was really good. And we're going to talk about Kyle Parker in a second because that dude was phenomenal on Saturday. But where did LSU improve on that offensive side? Kind of like, obviously we saw promise, but what was like the main thing that they were just really able to do on that Saturday night that stood out to you the most?
I would say the run game. I think the last podcast I made a comment about I can't tell you how many like 10-yard runs we've had, double-digit yard runs we've had, and I've counted at least 3 or 4 last Saturday.
Yes.
So the way they were able to run the ball, and they didn't even have like a great rushing day, but just a very good, solid day of rushing. Like once again, to not have to put the ball in Garrett's hands so much like we had to do Ole Miss because we were just desperate. I thought that was a very comforting thing to see. And I don't know, hopefully the curse is broken. Hopefully they can run the ball now. I don't know, but I'm just happy that they were finally able to at least show that it can be done.
Yeah, this kind of counters what you just brought up. I liked how they didn't really spread the ball around that much. I liked how they let their guy get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
I liked how they let Nuss get into a rhythm with Trades, get into a rhythm with Kyle Parker instead of forcing maybe throws to get other guys involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kyle Parker and Trades Greens are guys that right now, the routes they're running, Nuss can make that throw. Nuss can put that in a ball where a guy like Trades can go up and get it.
Yeah.
It might not be the best ball, but Trades in a 50-50, it's more like an 80-20 for him.
Right.
And when your quarterback is dealing with that injury and he's not throwing his best football, to me that's kind of a way to make it a little bit easier on him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying I only want them to throw the ball to Trades Green or I only want them to throw the ball to Kyle Parker, but they found the guys that were in a rhythm, that were playing their best football, and they went to them. And I think that's something that they've missed this season against Ole Miss. I think that's something that they missed this season against Florida.
Yeah.
They were trying to spread the ball out a little too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So-
They got, and I guess it's one of those good problems to have. Like you got so many dynamic receivers. You want everybody to get a slice of the pie. But like Trey Dez is too dynamic of a receiver to only get 4 targets a game.
100.
Like
yes.
he's got to get 7 to 8 targets a game.
And I liked how they were able to, if you see him on an island,
Yeah.
obviously throw him the football. But why I brought that up was, honestly, that's why Garrett had 2 interceptions. Is because look, you're on the goal line. Yes, you're throwing to Trades Green, obviously. Like everybody knows that's where you're throwing that football. So it kind of makes it very easy for a defense to read that and jump it and make an interception or make a play, or just get Garrett out of rhythm. And I think that was kind of one of the things that stood out to me was just, yes, I like how you get Garrett in a rhythm by giving the ball to the guys that are making the plays, But if you spread the ball out a little bit more, just a little bit, giving another guy like 2 receptions or 3 receptions or whatever it is, it kind of makes the defense go on their toes a little bit. And I think the fact that you have so much talent in the wide receiver room, it doesn't make sense to not throw it out and, make those plays and spread the ball. Like we said earlier, there was no reason for this game to only be 20-10.
Right.
Yeah.
No reason, not a single reason. And I think the way it could have been bigger is if they spread the ball out a little bit more and found the Berrions, found the Nick Andersons, found the Xavions. Xavion was a ghost out there. We didn't see him once, basically.
And that's crazy.
He was a ghost, and that's one of those things where it's like maybe he was out, but if I'm sitting up in the stands and I'm watching the game, I didn't hear his name. And so that's something that kind of brought something to my attention.
I think
no, you're good, man.
I think it's just one of those things where you have to find a balance because obviously you want to get everybody involved, but a lot of times that's how mistakes happen because you start trying to force things. I got to get this person the ball. I got to get this person the ball. At the end of the day, like I feel more comfortable with just doing what's working. If we're going solo coverage on Trey Green, all 4, it's a no-brainer. He's getting the ball. So I think there just has to be a balance with pleasing all of those receivers because they have a lot of receivers on that roster, and at the same time just doing what really just makes sense in the moment.
For me, the biggest thing was I just liked outside of the, you brought up a good point. He did force those throws, on those 2 interceptions. That was a bad throw but I liked the fact that they were trying to stick with what was working and get that offense into that identity and that rhythm.
They'd finally been confident in something that was working. Yeah.
It seemed like they were finally playing kind of more together. They weren't trying to get everyone involved. They were kind of limiting who they wanted to get those touches.
Yeah. Back to the question, though, is just like what I was trying to get at is, yes, the spread kind of messed everything up, but then you were able to run the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
And so you were able to get like 5 to 6 yards a carry, and that was something that we haven't seen all year long. And I think, because I made it very clear that I thought that this front 7 was probably one of the best that you were going to see all year, and it didn't look like that, if that makes sense. Like you were able to kind of push them around on that offensive line.
You said on Saturday?
Yeah. And on the offensive line that was just kind of not you're able to push them when, the offensive line's hurt a little bit. They're shaken up. There's guys that are trying to step up into new roles. And BK said before the season, we're going to have 7 to 8 guys that we can throw in there. And that wasn't the most comfortable thing to hear as a fan or a reporter. Yeah. And so kind of just to see you not really be fazed by all that talent on that defensive front, and you're able to get at least some kind of recognition on the run game. Obviously, there wasn't a ton, but the run to Juwan Johnson, the play actions and rolling out and finding Kyle Parker, that was good. And I think you don't get that play action without a solid run game, without getting 6 yards a carry.
Yep.
You're not getting that. It's just not possible. But Nussmeier was 20 of 33 with 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, and 254 yards. So some good, some bad. What did you see from 18? What did you like? What did you not like?
18, man. Like I said, it looks like he had 2 weeks off. It looks like he had 2 weeks to rest. I guess the towel throwing method that they had him doing in practice, it paid its dues because we got to see it on Saturday night. Like, bro, that throw to Chris, I really wish Chris Hilton caught that ball so bad because it was literally like, come on, like you can't throw it any better than that.
No, you can't.
That throw, the precision that he had on the goal line fade to Trey Dez, the one that he had at the end of Trey Dez,
the throw
to
Kyle Parker, man, was just incredible.
Like, so getting to see those types of throws again from Garrett, it felt so relieving because we've been saying for 6 weeks now, like, this is what he does. Just why aren't we seeing it? Why haven't we seen it? So to finally see it, it felt great. The first interception, like, I wasn't too bothered by it. It's 3rd and 12. We're on the 48. All right, arm punt, whatever. Now, the second one, Like, yeah, we
That
gotta
can't happen.
clean those up. But yeah, outside of that, man, Garrett looked much better than what we've seen, and hopefully he can continue to build on this, and we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think, another thing that it seems like we say this like once every 3 weeks, where he ran the ball. He had
Holy
30
moly, he ran the ball.
He had 30 rushing yards, which doesn't seem like a lot. But
It's
when
a
you're
lot for
Garrett
him.
Nussmeier, that might be a career high right there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think overall, his decision-making, there's still some room to improve there. Like you mentioned, that interception, that can't happen. I mean, when you play a ranked opponent, when you play a team like they're going to play this weekend and you turn the ball over in the red zone like that, that's how you lose football games. But overall, you're starting to see I think we're starting to see him get into that rhythm. That connection he had with that throw, like you said, to Kyle Parker. I mean, that's something that they've been missing all season. And so it's nice to see that. It was kind of like a breath of fresh air, like, oh, wow, we can have an explosive
Yeah, I knew I
play.
wasn't crazy.
So,
Like,
this does exist. And so I just think, like you mentioned, they have to continue to build off of it. But I also think they need to challenge him to make better decisions. And I know they have, and I know they do every week. Make better decisions. But there's, like, for whatever reason, he has that in him where he's, he can be a high-risk, high-reward kind of player.
Yeah.
And so you want to see a little more reward than risk.
It felt a little bit more like last year's Garrett Nussmeier, where he wasn't perfect. He was never perfect, but there were glimpses of just like, okay, this guy's going to play on Sundays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there were glimpses there, like the game against Ole Miss last year when LSU won, he was not good the entire game, and then that final 2 minutes, he just turned into Peyton
Brady,
Manning.
yeah.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And so I think you saw bits and pieces of that on Saturday, and I think that's very crucial. The thing that kind of bums me out is you're 5-1, you're 6 games in, and you have 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, okay, this might, again, kind of like the Garrett Nussmeier from last year, where it's like a little bit careless with the football, but then you're seeing some really incredible throws. So I think it was, I kind of had like a 50-50 relationship with how I watched that game, just because what I didn't agree with was people chanting MVB in the stadium.
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
And,
That's crazy.
There were people chanting MVB, like putting after the first interception, and it was like, that's just kind of stuff that I didn't really agree with.
Yeah.
But you were able to, like I said, you were able to see some of those throws that were just like, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and that's very comforting, because you did not see that against Ole Miss, and you saw a couple of them against Clemson, you saw a couple of them against Florida, and then obviously you saw some against the in-state schools. But I think overall he had more better plays than bad plays on Saturday night, and that was what was kind of important for this offense. I wasn't impressed with the way he played, but I wasn't that disappointed. And the fact that, you were able to throw 254, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, only scored 20 points.
He can throw 250 in his sleep, man.
Yeah, like that's why, like, it's a lock for him to get 250. Like, it's because he's just I'm glad that they actually let him throw the ball. And we talked about that on Friday on the tailgate show. One of the main things that I really wanted to see was for them to kind of force him getting into that rhythm. Like, force him to make that deep ball, force him to make those throws, force him to roll out, because it's only going to help, in my opinion. I don't think you're going to get a worse Garrett Nussmeier than what you saw against Ole Miss or what you've seen. Like, I don't really think you're going to, like, he's a good player at the end of the day. So he's going to have, his good plays are going to weigh with his outplays, his bad plays. So I don't know. I think that he just needs to calm down a little bit. It's sometimes with you know what I mean? Like, he just gets, I feel like he
just gets really trigger happy because the goal line intercept, like, he just never saw the guy. Like, he just never saw him.
And
like, he was dead set on where this ball was going.
And he looked him down the entire way. And so I think that's, none you can really like coach right now. He's
Yeah.
a senior in college. Like he's about to go play to the NFL. You can't really. That's something he needs to change on his own, and that he needs to adapt to. Because he's at that point where it's like there's only so much the offense can do to help him out.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Who was a guy on the offense other than Trey Green? I'm not going to let y'all answer that. That impressed. On the offense that impressed you.
I'm gonna go Kyle Parker. Alex agrees with me, but I know
other
that's
easy
another
one.
obvious answer. But I think like this was really Kyle Parker's like breakout game. This season. He's a receiver that kind of been forgotten about a little bit this year, just because of the depth that's in that receiving room. So to see him just break out like that, catch everything that came his way, I mean, it's just great to see that. And once again, it's just a testament to the type of talent that's on this roster and the type of weapons that they have to work with. Yeah.
Well, to kind of switch it up, I guess I'm going to go with Caden Durham because, he had 70 rushing yards.
Yep.
He was averaging, I want to say, it was around 4.5.
4.7, yeah.
4.7 yards per carry. What did he have? A 25-yard rush or something like that? And he had that 15-yard completion as well. He did drop
That was
a
a
first
crazy
down.
catch, by the way. Yeah.
I mean, he did drop a first down, but overall, I think that's kind of the Caden Durham you expect to see. And there's so much more that you can see from him too, but you're starting to kind of see, okay, this is what I'm expecting. This is the Caden Durham that I thought I was going to get when he committed to LSU, when he signed that letter of intent. So overall, I just think he was efficient in the run game. He, considering what they've had so far this season, I thought overall he got the job done.
And that was my guy. I think 70 rushing yards on 15 carries is
pretty efficient. That's very efficient.
It's pretty efficient for what you were what you have been getting in the past.
Yeah.
It's improvement, and that's all you're really looking for, and especially in a game that you won. Like you just want to kind of see that improvement. There wasn't really like anything that was like, okay, it's not good, it's not bad. It's kind of the same old thing, but you still saw bits and pieces of improvement. Yeah. And also getting involved a little bit on that passing game. He had that one reception for 17 yards. And so I'd like to see them maybe try and get that involved a little bit more, maybe a couple more screens, drops off, and if he can get into space. But I did like the way he played. I like the way he ran the football. He ran angry, and it looked nice.
Yeah, and I'll say, not to cut you off, but I think like this is probably the first game since the Clemson game where I've had more positive takeaways than negative, like after the game. Because after the Florida game, I was just, okay, what's wrong with this offense? Like the LA Tech game, I was like, okay, that was weird. Southeastern game, you chalk that up. And then obviously Ole Miss, you go in there and lose. So it feels good again to have more positive takeaways than negative. Not sure exactly what that means, if it means anything, to be honest with you. But this is 1 week. I don't have to stress. I came in here in high spirits. I wasn't.
Look, man, 5-1. Like you
Number
were
10
able,
team in the country.
like, yes, you only scored 20 points. Yes, you could have won the game 38-10. Yes, but at the end of the day, a win is a win, and you're 5-1. And on the opposite side of the ball, there were no issues. Defense was amazing once again. It's just been incredible.
Yeah.
Holding South Carolina to 10 points and Sellers to 124 yards in the air and only 19 yards on the ground. First time we've seen that in a long time, where the defense was just not fazed by a really good dual-threat quarterback.
Yeah.
You might not agree with me. I think Sellers is the best quarterback in the class. And LSU made him look like just a normal football player. And I think he's been coming off injuries, but I do think that it was very, very impressive that he was only held to one big rush play the entire time. And that's something that you love to see if you're Blake Baker and if you're a fan of this team. So what were your favorite things that you saw on Saturday from this defense? Just kind of run them down for me.
Probably their ability to get to Lenore Sellers.
Yes.
Like they forced him out of the pocket like a bunch of times. Now, even with that, he still made like some highlight reel escapes and somehow like turned negative plays into positive plays. But even with
juking
that,
tackles.
yeah,
They weren't
like,
tackling the best.
It,
but
it was crazy, but I think that's just a testament to his
Skill
his
level.
skill.
Yes.
But yeah, their ability to rattle and get to him as quick as they were getting to him, I think that helped a lot. The last thing you want is to give a quarterback with, limited receiving options time to throw the ball. You never want, subpar receiving options to kill you through the air. So I thought they did a very good job of getting to him. And then after that, we got Mansour DeLeon, who's going to take care of the rest. Yeah.
Mansour, Cooley, all over the place, man.
Did you guys see when Shane Beamer gave him that
I
pat
did-
on
I
the
did- I
back,
did.
and he was
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, just
Yeah.
I mean, but for me, this defense, they slowed him down. Like they maybe they didn't tackle him, maybe they missed the tackle, and they missed some tackles.
Yeah.
I was not very happy about that. But when I kind of look back on it, they at least slowed him down. They made him look human, and this is a guy that at times looks like he's from another planet, like he's from another world, and they, they really limited him. What was his longest rush? 12 yards.
Maybe
I mean, it was honestly
12. Yeah.
yeah.
12 yards.
The fact that you can limit a guy with that much talent, that has that much,
And it's but it's not like he didn't run the ball either. He had
Right.
22 carries.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he had 22 carries and he only ran for 19. And that, obviously there's sacks and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
that's insane
Yeah.
to me.
And I was like I was trying to brace myself because I just knew like at some point he's gonna break this game open and gonna make things a lot more interesting.
And I think other than that long 70-yard rush to the end zone, they were great on the run
forgot about that
on
rush.
the run game. Like on defending the run, they were phenomenal. Other than that one play, and of course that's just a safety not filling the gap and not getting there, but that's going to happen, and it didn't end up
Right.
costing you the game, which is all that matters. Obviously, that can happen moving forward, having those big rush plays. But the fact that it was only one is very good.
Yeah.
And it helps you as a defense. I think just my favorite thing that I saw was just the way they got to the quarterback. Not necessarily like you talk about this missing tackles and all that, but they just dominated that line of scrimmage. And from the jump, they just dominated the line of scrimmage. And even if they weren't really able to get to the quarterback right away, or they were making him uncomfortable. And that's something that you're going to have to bring next week, or else it's going to be a long day. Because if you're not, you just have to keep that up. And I think that's something that we haven't seen in years past. But this defense is a different group, of 11 to 15 guys that you can throw in there and just dominate and fly all over the place. And they got some hard hitters too, man. And so that's where it's like, I think they're just so aggressive and just so confident. It's so fun to watch. Like it got, like as a fan, it's like, okay, when I'm when I'm gonna go use the restroom, it's like, if I'm sitting there and watching the game, it's like, okay, I got to use the restroom. I'm going to go use the restroom when we're on defense just so that I can watch the offense play. Now it's like, no, I'm going to go use the restroom when we're on offense, and I'm going to watch this defense play.
Right.
And I think that's something that, is pretty fun to be a part of, just because you haven't that's been part of the reason that's the reason you don't have a national championship from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And like that is the only reason you don't have a national championship. And so it's like, okay, that's not the problem anymore. I think offense is easier to fix than defense. And so the fact that you have like just a group of guys that are so confident and so ready to roll, that's my favorite thing, man. Just like they're so good. They're holding like 22 carries for 19 yards, fellas. Like, come on, dog. And this is the same guy that made you look stupid a year ago.
Yeah.
Made you look stupid.
I think we lose that game last year.
If
he
you don't
doesn't
go
get
down,
hurt,
we lose that game 100%. Yes. And so it's just like the fact that you were able to see that switch, that flip of the switch right away, and like the crowd gets into it. You're in Tiger Stadium. Obviously, that helps you out a little bit, but I don't know, man. If you would have told me last week that Lenora Sellers had 19 rushing yards on 20 plus carries,
I would have called
I
you
would have
crazy.
laughed. Yeah, I would have laughed in your face, just how you're laughing in mine. That's what I would have done. And I think that's a big testament to this defense, big testament to, the linebackers, that line right there, like Blake Baker, his schemes, like they're just all over the place. And I think that's something that, needs to be talked about a little bit more. But who's your MVP on this defense from Saturday?
I'm going to go Mansour. I think he had like 2 pass breakups, but it was the point in the game in which the pass breakups came. They, for whatever reason, they like decided to target him like on 2 straight. It was like that 4th and 4.
Why? That's what I don't understand. Why are you going to his side?
And I don't know, man. Maybe they think the moment's going to be too big for him or something like that. I don't really know. But it was that 4th and 4, and it was such a critical stop. And to see him just, textbook form, backpedal, come out of the break clean, break on the ball, and actually deflect it. Like, the ball didn't, sail out of it. Like, actually get your hand out there, deflect the ball, and that's pretty much what sealed the game at that point. Because after that, I was like, all right, cool, we got this. So, for the way that he was able to pretty much secure that victory with that rep that he played, my MVP is going to have to go to Mansour.
I'm going to go Perk. And
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, I like it.
Because all week, I talked about how big of how they're going to need his best game to slow Sellers down.
Yep.
2 tackles for loss, a sack, 6 solo tackles. It kind of seemed like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I remember every single play from that game, but it seemed like the plays defensively I do remember outside of the turnovers and the Mansour Delane pass breakups are those plays where Perk chased Sellers down.
Yeah.
Like he saw him and he stared him down and he went and he got him.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they needed. And that is the Harold Perkins you want to see. That is the Harold Perkins you expect to see.
Yeah.
That's the Harold Perkins you're going to need next week, the week after that. Well, they have a bye, but each and every game the rest of the season, you need that Perk right there. So thank you, Perk. Thank you.
I think this man who I'm about to say is the smartest football player I've seen on a defensive side of the ball. I don't want to say ever, but in my remembrance, it might be. And A.J. Halsey is that dude. He is like a genius when it comes to just, football. Like, he just has that head of being a football player. Like, he's a hard hitter. He's a great tackler. He lays the boom. Like, he had 11 tackles, I want to say. He had 11 total tackles, 6 solo. And this is your safety. And this is a guy who is flying all over the field, who's filling the gap, who's, he knows what you're running before you're even running it. He talked about on Tuesday about, the importance. On last Tuesday, they had player interviews. And somebody asked him, how has he always been a tackler or has he always been a hard hitter? And he talked about the difference between being a big hitter and a good tackler. And he says the big difference is when you're just become a good tackler and you focus on tackling a guy, you're gonna get more big hits along the way. So he mentioned, if you're just going for big hits the whole time, you'll probably get 3 tackles and maybe one of them's a big hit.
Right.
If you're just going out for all tackles, you're going to get 8 tackles and then maybe 2 or 3 are big hits. Mm-hmm. And that's what you want from your safety. And he also talked about the importance of film. He's a big film guy. That's what he said. He said if he's not in the weight room, if he's not practicing, if he's not, playing football, he's watching football and he's watching what needs to be, focused on for his team. And I think he's not even just he's not watching him. He's watching the other. He's watching the other, and so he knows what's going to happen before. And obviously, everybody watches film. It's not the craziest thing to watch film, but the fact that he's so good at it, I feel like you don't see that much that much anymore. Just football brainiacs and that are so, you know what I mean? He is literally just a football geek with so much talent, and it just works. He puts it together. I can't remember the last time we had a guy, a safety, or you're probably one of your best players on that defensive side of the ball, getting leading the team in tackles.
It's probably Dale Pitt. You got to go back to that 2019
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's I think that's super impressive, and I loved every second of it. I love
Yeah.
watching that dude play. He's a beast. He's a baller. He's like, you're going to see somebody on Sundays. Mansour and him will
Yeah.
definitely be there on
Oh, yeah.
Sundays.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I feel like we always talk about, DJ Pickett, Mansour, Perk, Witt, and I feel like AJ gets looked over. Like, I don't know why it is. I guess
don't
there's
know.
only so many people.
Well,
that you
but
can
the
talk
thing
about,
is like I think people get overlooked because of how good this team, this defense
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
Like, it's just such a strong group. You have so many guys where it's like, okay, wow, this guy can play on Sundays. Oh wow, this guy's gonna play on Sundays. Oh wait, this dude had 11 tackles. He's gonna play on Sundays. So it's like you can't talk about all of them, and they're all gonna have different games. But
Yep.
sorry to cut you off, but it was just
you're right on the money, and that film aspect is so important, especially as a free safety. Like
Yeah.
you are the last line of defense. Like there's so much that goes into like playing the safety position. Like it's not just chasing people when they get down the field. Like
Yeah.
there's so much that you have to decipher. Like just from the way that the offense is positioned. What side of the hash are they lined up
Right.
on? Like it's little things like that. So I'm like super glad we got him out of the portal from Houston. The only thing is, it just makes me mad. Like, why didn't we get these guys sooner, man? Like, why did we let Mansour waste another year at Virginia Tech? Like, we should have been winning games.
Yeah, and that's a very good point because man, we could have had these dudes for so long
Yeah.
and progressed them, but man, the best part is like they're coming in here for their 1 year here, whatever it
Yeah.
is, and you don't even gotta do like they're ballers. Like they don't
Yeah.
you don't gotta teach them much. You gotta teach them the plays and their schemes.
Yeah.
But they already know what's happening, and so that's I think the biggest thing. And you haven't really had that. So shout out to AJ. He had a heck of a game on Saturday night. But let's move on, man. Let's move on to the upcoming game this weekend as number 10 LSU travels to Nashville, take on number 17 Vanderbilt, where Vanderbilt is 2.5-point favorites against the Tigers, which scares me a little bit. But let's move on. What does this offense need to do to be effective on Saturday against a very, very confident Vanderbilt squad? Of course, holding South Carolina to 7 points when they played. Of course, Lenore Sellers got hurt and didn't finish that football game.
Yeah.
But 31-7 was the final score of that game. So what are your kind of just thoughts on what they need to do to be effective?
More of what they did Saturday. Like, even better, we need to be even more efficient in the run game. And more specifically, when we get chances to score, we need to score. I forgot to bring this up, but South Carolina's first play of the game, they fumble. They fumble like in the red zone.
Yes.
We get the ball and we come away with 3 points. Like that can't happen.
And
There's nothing that drives me crazier than getting the in plus territory and like
And that's what
doing
happened.
nothing with it.
And that's what happened against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And that's what hurt you against Ole Miss. You had opportunities to put the ball in the end zone, and you were only getting 3 instead of 6.
Yeah.
And that, like, it adds up over time, man. It really does.
does.
And so it's like when you get opportunities, especially when you're on the road this upcoming weekend against, like
they're
I
gonna
said,
be rocking, man.
dude, they're gonna be rocking.
They're gonna be rocking.
And they're confident.
Yeah.
The only group that's more confident than this LSU defense, in my opinion, is the entire team in Nashville for Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Like that group they are ready. They could go play the Chiefs from 2 years ago, and I think they would think that they would have a chance. Like that's the level of their confidence that they're in right now, and that's what I think. What do you got?
Well, to me, the biggest thing is you can't leave points off the board. When you get the ball, you cannot turn the ball over in the red zone, like you just said. And they've done that all season, and that's we talked about it with this past game. Yeah, they had 20, or with this past game they had 20 points, but they left 2 touchdowns and 4 more. So just overall, when you have to make the most of those chances, this is the type of team where if you do turn the ball over twice in the red zone, that's going to lose you the football game.
Yeah.
To me, the other thing is, I think it is crucial for them to win the time of possession battle. That is something that they have not done this season. They lost that against Ole Miss. They lost it against Florida. I mean, they forced 5 turnovers against Florida, and the offense had the ball for 22 minutes. That cannot happen in this game.
That's insane.
Like, you need to have your drives. You need to keep your defense off the field because you don't want a repeat of what happened in Oxford.
Yeah.
Like, it is critical that they establish the run game, that they find their rhythm, and they stay in their rhythm. And I want to see them convert those red zone opportunities. Yeah, and it hasn't even been like they're dropping touchdowns. I mean, they've dropped some big plays. You know, Chris Hilton, Caden Durham dropped the first down. He had a ton of green grass ahead of him. But they've just gotten the ball in the red zone, and they've been way too conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Like Poggi, like you've said all the time, open up a little bit and force Garrett to get into that rhythm.
Right.
Yeah. And so this is their perfect opportunity to do that, in my opinion. If you can do this on the road, if you can win this game on the road, then you get a little bit more confidence in you offensively before you have to play a top 10 team. So,
And then one more thing. I forgot to say this. One more thing. I'm going to challenge Garrett Nussmeier to not turn the ball over.
yes.
Like, that's all I got to say. Don't turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, please don't turn the ball over, because if you turn the ball over, there's just going to be issues, and then you get Pavia going on the field, who can run all over the place, who can throw all over the place. We'll talk about that in 1 second. But I think the biggest key for this team and this offense is the offensive line has to win their battle.
Mm.
If the offensive line doesn't win their
Please.
battle, it's going to be a long night in or a long day in Nashville, since it is a 11 a.m. kickoff. It's going to be a long day. And look, here's why, man. You got guys all over the place from Vandy who can eat you alive from that offensive front. You got Miles Capers. Miles Capers, who's just 4.5 sacks on the year. He leads the team in sacks. He's been great. You got to be able to run the ball. If you can't, if you can't run the ball, if you can't allow Garrett Nussmeier to have time in the pocket and be comfortable, you're gonna get run through. And that's just how it is. Like, this team is. It's so weird saying it, but this Vanderbilt team is too good.
Yeah.
From like a physical standpoint, which is so weird to me. They made Alabama look like small in some points, just of how aggressive they were, how hard they were hitting. Like, they're gonna come for you, and they're gonna make plays from that line standpoint. If the offensive line beats the defensive line from Vanderbilt, you're gonna be fine, in my opinion. You're gonna be able to do what you want to do. I don't think their secondary is going to give Garrett Nussmeier too much trouble. But if you don't win your battle, like each position doesn't win their battle, it's gonna be a problem. Especially on the tackles. The tackles have to win their battles on that outside, or else it's going to be a long night. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the thing that scares me is I don't know how likely that is.
Exactly.
I just don't know.
But that's how, in order to be effective on both sides, whether that's running the football or throwing the football, and having that dual kind of threat offense of just, okay, I'm going to hand the ball off to Caden Durham or Juwan Johnson, and they're going to go run for however many yards, 70 yards, whatever it is, and then I'm going to be able to throw the ball to hopefully healthy Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas if they get him in there, or even more Trades Green and all that stuff. If I'm not going to be able to do that the whole game if I can't run the ball.
Right.
And that's what hurt you in Ole Miss. Like, they were dropping 8 guys. They had 3 guys on the line, and you couldn't run the ball. And so it's like, okay, if you can't run the football, they're going to just do the exact same thing and force Garrett into making bad decisions.
Yeah.
And so the winner or loser of this game is going to come from that offensive line, defensive line standpoint. So let's move on. Diego Pavia brings in another dual threat type of style that can give you trouble. Obviously, it's hurt teams all year. Are you worried about the defense against this high rolling offense? Are you worried about Diego Pavia? Kind of like, he's their leading rusher.
Yeah.
He's their leading rusher, and obviously he's their leading passing yards. So, what are you worried about? What are you confident about? What does this defense need to do?
I'm not as worried as maybe I should be. Look, Diego Pavia, I think he's great for Vanderbilt because he's given that program new life. I mean, he's given them a sense of confidence they've never had before. It's like, you get your first girlfriend and now all the ladies want it. That's kind of what it feels like. And so I think Diego Pavia is an incredible player, and he's very fun to watch. And you're right. He is their leading rusher. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. I mean,
That's
for
crazy.
a quarterback, that's not normal. And he's also thrown for almost 1,500 yards this season. So he's a dangerous player. I just don't think they have enough to beat this LSU defense. And the reason I say that is because one thing that I think Blake Baker's going to do is I think he's going to rattle Diego Pavia. He's a very smart player, but when you have a lot of confidence, if something goes wrong, things can start to get bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this kind of plays into LSU's hand. This plays into Blake Baker's hand. When you have a front seven like you do, when you have the secondary like you do, if he puts a ball in a dangerous place, Mansour Delane's going to get that. A.J. Halsey's going to find that football.
Yep.
I mean, this is a LSU defense that is out for blood, and they're out for the football.
Right.
So I think that gives them an advantage, and that gives me a sense of comfort. He's a great player. He's going to give them his best game, but I think they're just too good for him.
I
Leave
agree,
it there?
man. No,
All
not
right.
leave it there. But like pretty much everything is like I just want to echo that.
Yeah.
I think Diego Pavia is a great player. But it almost feels like a trend almost with Vanderbilt being good. It's like the big story. And at some point, it's going to come to an end, and you're going to look normal again. And I just think this defense, like you said, is just way too good. I think Diego Pavia is a great guy, great person. But I just don't know if he's the type of special that you have to be at the quarterback position to beat this LSU defense.
Mm-hmm.
Trinidad Chambers was special that Saturday afternoon. He was incredible. And I don't know if we're going to get that same type of effort and performance from Diego Pavia.
But the thing that, interested me about that game was there were a bunch of moments, in my opinion, where you made Trinidad Chambliss look like that Division II quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were definitely times where you were like, okay, yeah, this team isn't going to beat us. Like, we're all over them. And then next thing you know, it's 3rd and 12, and he makes a big play. And I think that is one of the things that Diego Pavia brings, where he can beat you with that. Like, he is very good in back against the wall type of situations. You saw that against Alabama. You saw that against South Carolina. There weren't any really back against the wall situations. He was just dominant. Mm-hmm. And I think in order for you to really just get to him is you need to play him kind of the same way you played Sellers. You need to roll him out. You have so much talent on the defensive line area. Obviously, Bernard Gooden, we don't know if he's going to be able to play on Saturday. He has the bruised collarbone. It is not a break, thankfully. And he was a big part of getting into that, getting into the face of the offensive line and making it hard for Lenore Sellers. But I think, if you're able to get Pavia out of the pocket, roll him outside, and then you have Witt or Perk following up, there's not really much he's going to be able to do. So I think, honestly, if I'm LSU, have him beat you with his legs, honestly.
Yeah.
I think if you're I said that wrong. Have him beat you with his arm.
Yeah.
If he's going to beat you, have him beat you with his arm. If he's going to
show me something.
If he's going to throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and that's how we lose the game, so be it. You know what I mean? So be it. But if he comes into the game and starts running all over the place and it's a long night, that's a problem. And I don't think we're really going to see that. I think if we would have saw something, we would have saw it like on Saturday, and they were ready, they were prepared. So I don't necessarily think that we're going to see that. So
one more thing real quick is one thing I didn't mention too. Diego Pavia protects the football really well. He's thrown 4 interceptions this season, but if you look at his entire career, he has not had a single season where he's thrown double-digit interceptions. And so LSU's defense has been really good at forcing turnovers.
So good at it.
So if they have the opportunity to do it, I talk about it all the time. They need to get off the field when they can get off the field. If they have the opportunity to do that, and they force that interception and they force those turnovers, they will be fine.
Yeah.
To me, that's the key too. If he has to beat you with his arm and he's throwing picks, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So I asked the question, who wins Saturday, fellas?
I'm taking my Tigers, man. 27-17.
All right.
I think this is a game where LSU can score points. I really do. I think this is a game where they can get into the 30s. I liked what I saw. They moved the ball really well. South Carolina's defensive line is good, and they moved the ball. That's the best they've run the ball all season, in my opinion, outside of the Clemson game.
Yeah.
So I think they've got a little bit of confidence back. I think they're going to keep that rhythm going, and I think they're going to win 31-17.
I've got a double-sided answer. I am very strong with how I feel about this offensive line. If this offensive line isn't able to allow you to have a run game, if Caden Durham is held to 40 rushing yards, if you aren't able to, get off the line quick and create space for your running backs, create time for your quarterback, I could see you losing this football game. If you are able to do those things, I think you win the game by 3 scores.
So which do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. I'm giving you a two-sided answer.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think if you are able to win the battle on the offensive line front of things, you win the game. If you don't, you lose the game. That is the game right there. That offensive line is going to be the win or loss for this LSU football team. I think so if they do well and they are the offensive line that is creating space, allowing you to kind of advance a run game, I think you win 28-14. But if that doesn't happen, I could see it being a high-scoring game or something of that nature where you lose 35-21, something like that. Because
you think they give up 35?
I don't think that we're going to give up 35, but I think that if you're not able to have that offensive line strong and ready to go and open up the thing, the same thing's going to happen in Ole Miss, where your offense is just going to be on the field and then they're off the field and then the defense is on the field for 40 minutes. You know what I mean? And so if the defense is on the field for that long of a time, they're going to make you pay. There's only so much you can do when you have a guy who's ran for over 350 yards this season, as a quarterback. If you can only contain him for so long. I'm not expecting a shutdown effort from this defense. I'm expecting Pavia to give you a little bit of trouble. I don't know how much trouble, but I do think that if you aren't able to get off the field quickly and go score points and have if this offense doesn't do what they need to do, if this offense doesn't score 21 points, you're going to lose the football game. And that's what I don't know. That's my prediction. But hopefully I'm incorrect and LSU doesn't run into that issue. But like I said, man, I mean, you're going to see on Saturday, the offensive line needs to be ready to roll. And that's what I think. Anything y'all have before we end this pod?
It's a noon kickoff, so I hope they have them ready to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I think they're going to take care of business because I don't think we'll see another offensive performance like we saw against Ole Miss. I don't think the offense is going to look that bad again, probably this season, period, but definitely not against Vanderbilt.
I hope.
In return, I don't think the defense will have to be on the field for 40-plus minutes. But anything can happen any given Saturday, so we just have to wait and see.
I mean, just come ready to play. Like you said, it's an 11 a.m. kickoff, noon kickoff. Those aren't fun games to play in.
Especially not for LSU, man.
And especially when it's a ranked matchup, too.
Honestly,
on the road.
I think this benefits the Tigers. I think it being a day game on the road kind of benefits you a little bit. I don't think Vanderbilt wants this game to be a day game by any means. I think that
makes sense. I get that.
I think they want this game to be a night game, and I think LSU's going to come into that game being prepared, ready to roll, electric energy.
Yeah.
And so I think that helps you a little bit more. But the offensive line is, in my opinion, the do or die for this team. Because I don't know why I said 35. I don't think the defense is ever going to give up 35 points. But I think if you're on the field for such a long time, you're going up against a guy who can hurt you in certain ways. And you saw on this past Saturday where there wasn't really a whole lot, like there wasn't that much of being on the field for that long. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a whole lot of that. So anyways, it's been a long pod. We've been talking a lot. We kind of just been yapping. But that's going to do it for us here today in the John Frischer Podcast studio for this semester 6 episode of the Hodges Huddle. Big thanks to Will and Jay, of course, as always, for joining me, giving me y'all's takes. Big shout out to Alex doing his thing back there, helping us out with the production side behind the scenes. So thank you guys all for tuning in once again. I'm Michael Poggi, and this has been the Hodges Huddle.